Good evening and welcome to the October 16th meeting of the Board of Trustees of Tarrant County College. I would like to call the meeting to order. Are there any public comments, Mr. Gates? Any public comments? Thank you. We have a presentation tonight, first from Dr. Alan Gobin and his team. Do you want to say anything before they? Okay. Mrs. Hadley.
Board members, it is with pleasure that I welcome, he's not so new anymore. He still, I suppose, is feeling the newness of his position, but the president of the Northeast Campus and his team, Dr. Gobin, came in and went straight to work and was up high on the, up first on the agenda after he got here. So he's all excited about it. So he and his team are prepared to give you the results of some of the work they have been doing, which I think you'll find very exciting. Dr. Gobin, welcome.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Hadley, Mrs. Appleman, and members of the board. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening and visit with you a little bit about what's been going on Northeast Campus as we move through our fall semester. So it's an exciting time. As the new president, one of the first things I wanted to do was really get to know the campus and the college district and all of our good colleagues across the other campuses as well. And so I introduced there we go. It's all right, I'll turn it back on. Thank you. I introduced a framework for a conversation, and I want to share a little bit of an overview with you on this so that you have an idea of what this is all about. This is an organizational life cycle graphic, and so that we have a common understanding of how we framed our conversation, I'll tell you a little bit about this particular cycle. There are lots of these out there, but this is the one that we used. So down here at the bottom you see a starburst that's a creation or recreation point in an organization's life cycle. And then the organization goes through a creation phase. This first phase of creation is all about excitement and possibilities and new ideas. There's a lot of brainstorming. There's a lot of wide open collaboration across the hierarchical structure. And the communication flows rapidly and in a pretty fun fashion for some, but it also feels a little uncertain, like you're walking on marshmallows. When you move into the second phase of growth, this stage of the life cycle is much more focused. Although things are still very wide open, they're still happening very quickly. The growth phase usually is indicated by the meetings becoming more strategic, more focused. There's usually a good action list of items to do as a follow-up to the meetings, whereas in the creation phase, the meetings tend to end with lots more ideas and scheduling another meeting to talk about more ideas. As the organization moves into the performance phase, I call this the happy days or the golden years of the organization. This is a time in the organization's life that you've been working toward with all the creation and growth strategies. And the person who wore maybe 5 or 6 hats during creation and then 2 or 3 hats in the growth stage tends to become more specialized, and they focus more on the task at hand. So the organization tends to function more within its hierarchy, and the communication tends to flow more distinctly within the hierarchy. During this time, traditions are established, the niche is developed and really accentuated, and then toward the end of it especially, you start to do lots of celebrations to celebrate all of the accomplishments. At some point then, all organizations transition into this fourth phase, which is called transition. This phase could be brought about by internal or external factors, could be societal change. It's also what I call the 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 8 steps sideways phase. Lots of things happen, and they happen in rapid fashion. And one of the things that's really interesting about this phase is the communication patterns, where they were really wide open in creation and they're very cross-functional across the hierarchical structure. They become similar, though more focused and strategic in the growth phase, and then they become more hierarchically anchored in performance. During transition, typically the hierarchical structure has changed, and lots of other factors are happening, and so the hierarchical communication is very challenging. Although it's still relied upon very heavily, it becomes very challenging. Then at some point, the inertia develops into a very common burst of energy that fuels the organization forward. So we asked the question, where's Northeast Campus? And acknowledging that different departments, divisions across campus might be at very different places on this cycle, what we asked was, where's the critical mass of the campus? And after much dialogue, I spoke with the Leadership Council, groups of faculty members, different staff members, individual conversations. I talked to everybody I could talk to in a short amount of time, and everyone seemed to move toward about a 3 o'clock area of having been really anchored in the performance phase for a long time, but moving over toward the transition phase. And so, as we were talking about how do we move forward through this, we also looked at where do we think the district is as an entire district. It's important to underscore that the district is multi-campus, is very large, and so it's really going to have major sections of the district at all places on this cycle necessarily. But we said, where's the critical mass of the district, or where do we think it is? And the conversation went all over the place, but it ended up being, well, it's probably a little further into the transition phase than the Northeast Campus, but we're in fairly close proximity in terms of the cycle. And so what we've talked about is, with our own work, with our own goal setting, how can we help the district move forward? How can we help move our campus forward? So with the Leadership Council, I assembled a task team. It had several different folks on it. And we followed up with our faculty leadership with conversations with some of our faculty leaders on campus to talk about what this looks like and what goals out of our Chancellor's 8 goals that the board has approved, which ones could we really focus on. I'd like to invite Linda Wright to the podium to share a little bit of, or excuse me, I'm sorry, Linda. I wanted to invite Antonio Howell to the podium first to reflect upon this life cycle, and then he'll be followed by Linda, who chaired our task team to talk about goals. And so Antonio will reflect a little bit on the cycle, and then Linda take us into the goals conversation. Antonio?
Good evening, everyone. As you hear, I'm going to be talking about the cycle and where the Northeast Campus position themselves, the faculty and the staff. So when asked what phase of the organization cycle best represents the Northeast Campus's administrators, they chose the latter stage of the performance phase, as we can see it there, approaching the transitions phase. Then at another meeting, faculty staff were asked the same question, and they too chose the latter stages of the performance phase, close to the transition, as we can see on the video. Even though faculty, staff, and administrators were not given performance phase descriptors such as excellence, reputation building, traditions established, and focus celebrations, these expressions seem to characterize the ideals of many Northeast Campuses faculty, staff, and administrators. However, because faculty and staff and administrators also consider themselves approaching this transition phase, then one may extrapolate to words and phrases such as change, new goals, renewal, rejuvenation as natural descriptions of the next step for these employees to move from the performance stage to the transition stage. Cycling out of the performance phase into the transition phase seems accurately descriptive of the progression of the Northeast Campus's faculty, staff, and administrators. Optimism is a force multiplier of success. Thank you very much.
Good evening. In keeping with the spirit and the concept of the organizational life cycle, Dr. Gobin, as he indicated, wanted to emphasize campus goal selection somewhat from the ground up, As he stated, he formed a Campus Goals Task Force composed of individuals from his leadership council that represent various segments of our campus. We had members from academic affairs, members from continuing education, members from facilities, financial aid, and some campus academic leaders. Our committee met on a Friday afternoon and started our session with a discussion of the Chancellor's goals. Then each member selected 3 to 4 of those goals from the Chancellor's list that they felt were pertinent to our campus and could be implemented in some fashion in their areas. After a good bit of discussion and brainstorming, our group settled on 4 goals to send forward to Dr. Gobin, and you'll see those task force recommendations here in blue. All of us agreed that goal number 1, retention, is an overarching goal and one that can be implemented in a variety of ways that are unique to individual functional areas. When the goal recommendations were later shared with our academic department chairs, who incidentally are in the process of formulating their institutional effectiveness plans for 2014-2015, they really embraced the idea of retention, and a number of them indicated that they intended to formulate one of their IEP goals would center on retention and how that could be specific to their areas. Once the task force forwarded their recommendations then to Dr. Gobin, he built upon those recommendations and added some of his own goals.
Thank you, Linda. So I wholeheartedly endorse those as campus focus goals, acknowledging we'll work on all 8 goals, but those are particular focus for us. The additional things that I really would like to work on, one thing is communication mapping, because in this phase I think it's really important to be able to better understand who we communicate with and how and for what purpose, so we can better flow our communication. And then campus visioning for the future with specific efforts to consider our campus identity, our programs, and our facilities. And you can see those tie-ins to other goals, and then a few other things that are pretty natural for the president to work on. We next want to share with you a little deep dive into one of these goals so you can see how this plays out at ground level with our faculty, our staff members, and our students. We incorporated students into an activity. On October 10th, we took a really deep dive look at our retention and student success-oriented goals with our Special Populations Initiative. We're going to show you a little video clip, and to introduce this, we used a puzzle analogy so that our folks would not feel like the retention initiatives, any of these listed, would be an individual initiative. They're really part of a much broader picture. And so we had a fun puzzle activity with jigsaw puzzles to talk about how we frame up that broader, holistic student view of our institution and our view of the holistic nature of our students as learners and as people. So we'll show you a little video clip that has some fun puzzles in. If there was any one magic bullet solution, we'd have all been doing it years ago. But the closest thing I've ever seen to a magic formula is an atmosphere of high expectations and high support. It's keeping expectations, our academic rigor, our work we do with students to help them learn how to manage their time, life skills, success strategies. We keep those expectations high, but while we're doing that, we provide an equally high amount of support to help students realize those high expectations.
Pictures if you sort them. Here's trees. I'm going to put trees over by me.
With the students coming with different types of backgrounds, issues, concerns, desires, and goals, how do we create that experience to benefit them as the whole person at TCC?
Thanks. Somebody did a tree. I was thinking maybe like a spider web. If you can put a lot on, it's about, like off the wings like a trail. Little strips out. You can cut like little, obviously education level when you come in behind, trenches and everything.
you all know, the life of a student is like the life of a baby eagle. So, I mean, you have a lot of fears, the fear of failure, lack of confidence, financial need, and other stuff like that. I know, baby eagles, they don't just fly. They have to go through all these rigorous exercises, and sometimes their mom will just push them out of the nest for them to be able to fly. So here you have all these services here at CCC that will help us as students to navigate all these problems and get to become a mother eagle and be able to soar.
So what we're trying to do today, to challenge you to do, is to think of your job as working within a system and look at it as a student looks at it.
We might need to talk about what we've done, where we've been, where are we going, and we're going to look at the data as well.
And so the idea is for you to work at your tables, and Julie will guide you a little bit more, but work at your tables, focus on those groups, and then talk with each other about where you see yourselves in terms of supporting those strategies at the Northeast Campus. Because I'm with Alan Govan, and I'm with those of you who said 52.8% isn't good enough.
Dr. Taylor, on your tables, if you can find it under your pile of creative mess, or some notepads. And if you wouldn't mind, would you please work with your teams? We are going to collect all of these at the end of the session.
When something small happens to them at that age, life is too big for them and they stop. And I think what we can do is start giving them some tools and strategies to say, okay, one, you need to manage your time better, you need to manage your finances better. Let me show you how to do some of those things so that when there is a problem, it's not a crisis in your life. You just know how to make an adjustment. And I think that will make a huge difference for that population specifically, but all our students in general.
And I think then that if you want to find out why they're dropping and maybe have a little more proactive influence in that dropping, they should have to talk to a person before they do it and get a signature.
If I did one toward the end of the semester, the wording will be something along the lines of this. That is finish strong. Finish strong. You don't want to gasp across the finish line. Finish strong on the semester, on the year, on the degree, on the credential. Finish strong. Our team finished strong. This was on a Friday afternoon, clear up until 4:30. We had over 160 people in attendance from all across campus. I'd like to invite a couple of those folks up here to offer a few reflections as we wrap up. Dr. Stacy Stewie is one of our key faculty leaders on campus, and Gary Smith, our Vice President for Academic Affairs intern, will offer a few reflections.
Hello. Faculty have always been concerned about helping students to be successful and helping to retain them. But the subject of retention is something that lately we are looking at much more closely. Faculty recognize that the statistics on the numbers of students who complete their degrees are far too low and not good enough. So we're coming up with some new ideas and sharing best practices with each other. Northeast Campus has excellent student support. At Northeast Campus, students can receive tutoring and additional instruction from tutors in the Academic Learning Center, from faculty volunteers in the SOS Center, and from supplemental peer leaders who have been hired as an additional resource for students. We also have faculty members who work with students who are faculty mentors who work with students who are TSI incomplete. Most importantly, we learn a great deal from our faculty members who have the highest retention rates. These faculty insist on maintaining academic rigor in their courses, but they are also experts at developing personal relationships with individual students and showing students that they care. For example, some faculty members send students who have missed more than 2 classes a personal email asking if they are okay. Another faculty member works to learn the names of her students within the first week of class. A different faculty member conferences individually with each of her students at least once during the term, and she also requires students to run their own degree audits in WebAdvisor so that students are aware of their progress and can set goals. Overall, faculty know that being successful at retaining students is about developing relationships with individual students, contacting them when they're not in class, caring about what is going on in their lives. We're all continuously working to do the best we can at this, and we look forward to working systemically with those in other departments of TCC to help make a difference in student retention rates. Thank you.
Chancellor Hadley and Sappleman, the board, good evening. As Dr. Gobin said, we really were starting to look at this organizational chart, and we had a lot of fun. That I wish you could have been there where those 160 faculty and staff people were. It was very noisy, a lot of activity, and they really bought into that. And one of the things that really became apparent to us as we've had all of these discussions, and that is that we really are going to have a change of mindset, because I think most of us will agree that most of the time that we pretty much do work in silos, and we think about what our job is, and it's just very narrowly defined about what we have to do at Tarrant County College. And what we started realizing is that when a student comes to us, that a student is a system, and that system does not just involve, I need to take this course, or I need to go and fill out this piece of paper. But that a student is a system that has all sorts of components, such as transportation, family, jobs, health, all of those things. And when they come to us, they bring all of those parts of that system together. And so we have started thinking that we need to change our mindset about how we look at that student, and really look at the student holistically and determine it's not just college that he or she is involved in, but it is all of these components. And we've got to deal with that if we're going to have student success. We also realized that we as a college are a system, and we started thinking and spending a lot of time about when a student comes on campus, how do they look at us? They don't look at us just as a teacher. They don't look at us as just a registrar. They look at us as the whole system of what they have to go through to try to get where they're going and to be successful where they're going. And so what we have decided that we are in this transition, this organizational life cycle. It was a very good visual for us. We had a lot of fun with it, but it was also an opportunity for us to introspectively look to see what we were doing and how we looked at ourselves. And we decided that we were too much in that silo state, and we've got to start thinking of systems and thinking holistically. Holistically, what is that student? Holistically, what is this organization? And how do these two actually come together to be successful? And so what we are committed to, we're very much on these days, this has brought us to be very, very much committed into retention. We've committed ourselves to look at the mindset that we have, and we're excited and we're eager to transition from this individual silo kind of thing to looking at the college and looking at the student holistically and see how we all fit as a whole and what are the components there. And we hope that will lead us then next into the stage of creation where we can create a better system for student success. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of our presenters from Northeast Campus, and it would be our pleasure to entertain any questions that you might have.
Any questions? Alan, I'd like to compliment you and your team on this absolutely wonderful presentation. I sat here, if you saw me smiling every once in a while, it was because I'm saying inside, yeah, this is exactly what we need to do. We've done a lot of wonderful things at Tarrant County College, and a lot of times it seems like we're always moving. That's what people see from the silo place. And so I was very, very pleased to hear how in-depth you and your team went into this, and the recognition of where you are along the spectrum and compared to where you need to be. So kudos to all of you, Dr. Howell, Ms. Wright, Dr. Stewie, and Mr. Smith. You have a wonderful team out there. That was very interesting, so thank you for that.
Thank you. The people are absolutely high energy and wonderful, so it's been a fun conversation.
That's wonderful.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
to
you
all
very
of you. Very interesting. Would that we all know where we are and where we're going in all parts of our lives. Thank you for this. We'll move on to board action items, starting with the approval of the minutes of the meeting of September 18th, which you received prior in your board packet. Motion to approve.
So,
Mr.
Second.
Heed, second by Mr. Greenhill. Any questions, discussion, comments, amendments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes, thank you. The consent agenda, 3 items: consideration and approval of new degree and certificate programs, consideration and approval of a request to establish TCC Connect as a campus, and that's pending approval from the coordinating board and eventually SACS. Dr. Morales, moving right along, that's great. And finally, a consideration and approval of proposed policy changes to FFD local. Motion to approve the consent agenda. Mr. Heed?
Second.
And seconded by Mrs. Vandergriff. Mr. Carter, I think you had a comment on the item A.
Yeah, I just was asking, we were looking at some areas that have historically had fairly low participation, chemistry and others, and I really wanted to ask if we really think we have enough student interest in those to approve these new degree programs.
Ms. Hadley?
Would you want to respond to Mr. Carter's?
Yes, I will tell you, Mr. Carter, that we've had lengthy discussions about all 4 of these degree programs. The presidents, without exception, thought that this was something that we needed to do primarily as a marketing piece for these programs, because as you notice in your packet, there are no new courses required. Every course that you need for the Associate of Science in Chemistry, the Associate of Arts in Kinesiology, Associate of Science in Math, and Associate of Science in Music, all those courses are already offered at Tarrant County College in our catalog. But they assured me that pulling those courses together as a major was going to be very beneficial for our students. We have a few students who have already enrolled for this program. We had a little snafu, and the programs went in the catalog before they came to the board. While they were there, I had them taken down when I realized it happened, but while those programs were up there, I understand we had quite a few takers who signed up for those programs. Kinesiology, in particular, is the one that shows the greatest promise. There are already a large number of students across the district who are who are taking all those advanced courses. The other thing that we discussed was that we wouldn't necessarily offer a major in chemistry, math, and music on all 5 campuses. The presidents were tasked with the responsibility of reviewing all those programs, looking at all the numbers. Mr. Marshall provided all of the data we needed to see how many students were enrolled on each campus right now in those programs. And I think it was clear to all of us that we want to go ahead and ask you to approve these programs as majors, with the understanding that all of them would not be offered on all campuses. To the extent that students can take the courses that are offered on any campus, that's fine. And as you know, a large number of our students study on 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 campuses. So, President, did I leave out any pertinent information that you need to add? Okay, all right.
I actually happy to see them, I think some, but particularly the country, the world needs more, particularly chemistry and mathematics students, and I hope with the programs that we can encourage more participation in those. All of them be good to be successful, but in those 2 particularly, I think we have some fairly significant shortages.
Mm-hmm. We do, and of course that's another initiative that we have this year for 14-15 is to work on a design to increase students in the STEM field. And from that perspective, the chemistry and the math may very well pick up a lot of students as a result of the outreach that's under Dr. Joy Gates Black, and I'm not sure what that person's title is, but that's what's being worked on right now.
Fun to watch.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yes.
In regards to the degree in music, I understand that at least in the past, there's been some problems in students graduating from TCC and other schools and going to UNT and their world-renowned music program. Will this degree help in that regard? I mean, has it been designed so that all the courses will apply and so they could articulate to North Texas?
I see heads nodding.
Yeah, that's critical.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Excellent.
Go to the microphone, please. She's telling me this was faculty driven, and I'm assuming she's going to also tell you they did all the research.
Yeah, good.
That's right. And Tahita actually reminded me that you did a great job of explaining all of the areas, with the exception that this was faculty driven, and it's in an effort to meet the success points that are requested by the coordinating board. And we're very confident that the programs will go well.
Thank you. Of course, Mr. Heed, any of those courses in that Associate of Science in Music, any courses that are in the core curriculum will automatically be accepted by the universities as long as it's a state-supported institution. Our job will be to make sure that our students don't stray from their degree plans. Stay the course and make sure they don't take extra hours and they get out with a degree with 60 hours in it. That's our goal. That's our goal. And this should also help some with that.
Dr. Morrison?
Yes. I participated in a webinar earlier this week, or perhaps last week, with the North Texas Commission, and one of the topics of discussion was more persons with majors, in these areas. And so I think that this is very timely, and I know we're going to do a great job of marketing it, not only to individual students that we already have, but prospective students and employers in the area, letting them know that we offer them, see if we can get some more support. Thank you.
Obviously, the video will reflect our questions and concerns, and I hope they have been addressed and that you are ready to vote. So all those in favor of the consent agenda going forward, we have a motion, yes, and by Mr. Heed and a second by Mrs. Vandergrift. Please say yes,
Yes.
or aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports, audit and finance. Mr. Carter?
Yes. If the trustees were to look on their TCD email, about 50 emails back, they would find copies of both the audit plan for this upcoming fiscal year, and also, yes, just in case you didn't look back 50 emails, there's a little black book on your, and also you would have seen an audit charter. In 2013, the legislature required auditing operations to have what amounts to a charter, which is essentially sort of a bylaws that these will operate under standard accounting approved procedures, and also has a couple of requirements. For example, that the items to be audited would be included on our website, and the results of these audits would be included on the website. And so, I would ask tonight that the board approve the charter, which is, I say, fairly standard, and which you have copies of now in two places.
And the motion is from committee, does not require a second. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor of approving the charter as presented in your emails and hard copy before you, please say aye.
Aye.
And
Anyone
one more
opposed?
thing, which is that you also received a copy of the audit committee's basically work that they have scheduled for the next fiscal year. Some of the audits are required by state law, and some of them are optional. There's also a place within that to add additional items as we go along. I think, for example, the required ones include an audit of trustee expenses, and you'll be happy to know that that audit is completed, and rather than do a sample, they audited all 35 items, and nobody here is going to jail. So,
We appreciate that.
So the committee would recommend that we approve the course of work, and keeping in mind that if trustees decide at some point that we need to audit some specific area, that we can do so. And also to kind of make it clear that over the course of time that every single operation at the campus will at some point be audited.
Motion to approve the audit plan for the year by Mr. Carter and his committee. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
That's all I have, Madam
Thank
President.
you. The Governance Committee met to prepare the agenda, nothing more. Institutional Planning, Mrs. Vandergriff.
Thank you. Let's see, we met Tuesday, and we had a very robust meeting. I do want to let you all know that the board members have charged the Institutional Planning Committee with the task of bringing a recommendation to the board probably by the end of November in regards to the Center of Excellence for Visual and Performing Arts on the Northeast Campus. So with that task, there's a lot of work to be done, and there has been already, and not necessarily from our end, but from your end. And so I wanted to kind of give you a brief update, but I also wanted to thank the Chancellor and the trustees for really opening up the door with North Richland Hills to explore the options, financing mechanisms, and the latitude that this college will have to perhaps build a building on the Northeast Campus. So there is, like I said, work to be done, and at the meeting, I want to thank Nina Petty's team for coming up with already a lot of work and insight that will prepare us to provide a great recommendation. Kirby Chadwell and Gary Prather know their business, and we appreciate that. Margaret Letton will certainly work hard with Dr. Gobin and his team to identify not only the academic needs, but the scope and breadth and the ambiance that you're looking for in a center of excellence of this type. So we do have work ongoing. You can see, I don't know that you have the minutes in front of you, but we did enjoy that presentation. And again, Mike Hergen gave us an update on the TXU RFQs, which I will defer that report to the closed session. So thank you all. Again, we do have questions, and the material that we receive from you is always thorough and fully vetted. And again, Angela, who serves on our committee, thank you for working with us.
Thank you, Ms. Vandergriff. The 50th Anniversary Jubilee Celebration, Dr. Morrison.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Appleman, and I want to thank you and the board for entrusting the chairmanship of this committee with me, as the 50th Jubilee celebration will begin in just a few months. We have been working to update the steering committee, and we have arrived at a celebration theme and an anniversary logo, which we'd like to share. And this is the proposed celebrating 50 years of success within reach. 50th anniversary, Tarrant County College, 1965 to 2015. And who can see the book with the open pages, the open book? All right. So we have excellent staff support on this event, as we do on all of our activities, and we're grateful for that. Also, we have been working with various teams. We have a core team of staff people, and they've done an excellent job. You want to add something right now?
Yes, if
Okay.
you would. We've developed a dummy website that we wanted to at least preview briefly tonight, that's going to take a look back at the 50 years of TCC history, with particular emphasis on each decade on a go-forward basis. So this was developed by
the web and PR team. Dr. Lace, obviously, is our resident historian, and he dug through quite a bit of information to compile a lot of this. Well, this is just kind of a
Does
sneak
anybody know
preview.
who that is?
Yeah, I was going to ask the young people
Well,
in the
some of
room.
the in the audience. Go back to that.
Who knows, young people?
Nobody knows.
John Connolly.
The governor.
Said young people, Bill. Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that nice?
Wow. Do y'all remember who remembers hot pants?
And what?
And white boots. Those are called go-go boots.
Remember the mule, the groundbreaking on Northwest?
Who designed the logo?
Our in-house
Our
team.
in-house team.
Great.
Are they here? Is Arturo here?
Is Arturo here? Robert Heiser.
Suzanne.
Barb. I told you all they're a bunch of young whippersnappers.
Yes.
And they are really smart.
Yes, that is.
Is it Dr. Carey?
So not only do we have a website, Dr. Lace is working to capture the 50-year history in Word and photograph, so there will be a book. And we also have calendar of events and activities planned throughout the year to be integrated and highlighted as a part of Academics Day, TCCD Foundation's annual event, campus showcases, commencement, and the Chancellor's kickoff breakfast. And then we also have a countywide celebration targeted for August 1st called the Panther Island Celebration, and we'll celebrate the 50th anniversary with the entire community of Tarrant County citizens at Panther Island on Saturday, August 1st.
Did you see that in Secret Negotiations?
Secret negotiation. Oh, in Radio Shack.
It was pretty secret.
Maybe we gave him too much latitude.
He's just telling the truth. And as mentioned, Ms. Valerie J. will spearhead our effort for the Panther Island celebration. So we're excited.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Bill, did you have something you wanted to add?
We do owe Dr. Lace a big round of applause.
Yes, we
And he's actually going to time his production so that it goes into the year 2015. The book and everything will include part of the celebration as a part of the written history. So we have a great team going. If you can still give us ideas and input and accolades, and just let this excitement begin. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thanks to all of you who've been part of this, and please, if you all who have not been at the table with us as we've gone along, if you have ideas or old photographs or what mementos of any kind, we'd love to have them. And hopefully get them back to you in good order, but please let us know if you can share some of our history with us.
Now, Mrs. Appleman, one more thing. Each campus, each president is leading a campus-specific celebration, a big one that will be unique to that campus. And hopefully we're going to be able to use at least a part of each one of those exhibitions at our big grand finale on the banks of the Trinity River right behind the Trinity River campus as we do the big 50th Golden Jubilee celebration that's open to the entire world. We want everybody to come and see us. So we're really excited about that. So the campuses have already or are in the process of forming their campus committees to get the best ideas that they can come up with available so that we can let the public know what our various centers of excellence are.
All right, back to work. Item number 9, presentation and request for participation and approval of City of Crowley Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1. Ms. Hadley and Mr. McClendon.
Mr. McClendon has the report to present, and our guest, I believe.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Madam Chancellor, Madam Chairman, Trustees. It's always good to address you on a Thursday evening. The City of Crowley represented made a presentation to the district and regarding the benefits of TRSC Zone 1 and requested that TCC enter into this participation agreement. The district recommends that the Board of Trustees, if interest, and should explore the participation, give the permission to the Chancellor to continue in reviewing the agreement with the City of Crowley. Mr. Jack Thompson from Orasi Development will make a presentation on behalf of the City of Crowley.
Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you, and good evening. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm Jack Thompson, and representing the City of Crowley. Mayor Davis wanted me to pass along his regrets for him being unable to attend tonight, but tonight is a City Council meeting in Crowley, and so he has several items on there that he needs to be present for at that meeting. But let's discuss our tax reinvestment zone in Crowley. So if we'll begin with the first slide. Why TERS is needed in Crowley? Well, several years ago, TxDOT realigned 1187, which opened up a lot of development opportunities in South Crowley. However, as part of the effect of realigning 1187, it basically has caused the development and any kind of future growth in our downtown and northern area of Crowley to dry up. And so there's become the need for investment in new infrastructure, as well as studies for engineering, and really focusing on trying to bring back some of the development and vitality to the downtown core, creating that sense of place that our residents are asking of us to create, as well as take advantage of about 600 acres of undeveloped land in the northern end of the city that at this time can't really grow because we don't have the necessary water, sewer, and streets to reach that area of the city. With Chisholm Trail Parkway now open and coming in, the whole southwest quadrant of Tarrant County is seeing and will continue to see over the next several years significant growth. So we're excited about that, and we want to be able to take advantage of that. If we will, please go to the next. So what we are proposing is creating a 957-acre district. As you see, we've broken the district down into 4 main quadrants. It's not completely continuous, as you've got District 1 of our TIF down on 1187, and then the rest of the TIF is contiguous zones 2, 3, and 4. And the reason why we've set these different zones up is they each kind of represent a different type of development or land use that will be developed over the years. In those areas, the District 2 area there represents our downtown core. 3 is predominantly going to be residential development, affordable housing in that area. And the 4th part of our TIF district is business park / industrial. We do believe in a very balanced economy in Crowley. We want to not only be relying on sales tax and growth in the retail and restaurant sector, but we also are very focused in on creating jobs in the area. And so that is a high priority of the council. And so a lot of the focus on the District 4 within our TIF is on job creation. Each one of these areas will develop in its own way in its own time, and I'll get to that a little bit later in our presentation. Next slide. The benefits to TCC, one is the Crowley South Campus Center. You already have this program in place with the Crowley ISD, and its main goal is really to work with the ISD students, help educate the growing workforce and expanding community in the area. And so with this TIF, and the ability to add infrastructure to these undeveloped areas, we expect significant residential and job growth in our city, which will translate into more uses of the Crowley South Campus Center, but also the South Campus is only 10 miles away. So we expect to see a significant increase in students for both of those campuses over the next 20 years. So that's one of the benefits. The second one will be continued, well, again, significant population increase into the area. So that, and with the development of the business park, a lot of what's coming on is more job training type programs. So we hope as the industrial and business park really begin to take off, that there'll be some job training opportunities that we can join in hand with with Tarrant County College to lure businesses from other states to our area and help with job training. Now, the City of Crowley, as we go to the next slide, the City of Crowley has already begun to put money into the city to really improve and start to attract development. We've redone our City Hall and fire station in downtown, just kind of become one of the centerpieces of the downtown area. We've also raised all our power lines. There was quite a few low power lines in downtown, and we wanted to get that mess elevated up and out of the drive view of people going down Main Street, so we've spent money on that. We currently got a grant from TxDOT for the improvements of all the medians on 1187. In fact, if you drive down there now, you'll see all the trees going in and the signs going up, and so we're real excited about that. Also, we've been working on issuing debt and putting in water and sewer lines. We're right now working on hiring an engineering and architectural firm to help us kind of plan out what we want downtown to look like. We're going to put in new curb and gutter, sidewalks, public art, public furniture, and really try to create that sense of place in the downtown area. So we've begun spending money on that. We've also begun working with a developer that owns the majority of that 600 acres to the north on planning out a rather nice mixed-use development and how we want that to look over the next 15 to 20 years. If we can, go to the next slide. So the timeline and vision. The focus areas, again, Focus Area 1 was that area down there on 1187 that was kind of by itself. We are in the negotiations with a large entertainment venue to put an entertainment product down there. With that, that'll create a significant increase in increment for the whole TIF, which can help pay for other parts of the projects within the downtown area and bringing in infrastructure to the residential and industrial park areas. We really see the Main Street corridor area taking off between now and 2030. The residential and mixed use, we were planning to really see if we can start getting the infrastructure in over the next few years to start seeing residential development begin occurring in 2015, and also in the business park area too. We'd really like to take advantage of a lot of companies looking to come to Texas and locate in our area. So we would like to ramp those projects up as quickly as possible and hope to begin everything next year. Now, looking at the financial parameters of the TIF, the initial value as it stands today, the value is $65.5 million. We're looking at a TERS life of base year plus 25, so 26 total years. The total project cost we estimate at $42.4 million. The majority of that is infrastructure. It's going to be water, sewer, and streets is the big bulk part of the project costs, and the soft costs related to that, architectural, engineering, those kinds of costs. Go to the next slide. As far as the financial parameters of each institution participating, the City of Crowley is participating 100% into the TIF, and our projected total of revenues into it is $13.2 million. Tarrant County has approved participation in at 75%, so that is taken care of, and they are projected to put in about $3.9 million. The hospital district at 50% at $2.3 million, and Tarrant County College at 50% at $1.5 million. And this would be over the whole 26 years. So hopefully the return on investment we estimate at about 328%. This area has the potential of really growing rapidly. So what we'd really like to do is get that infrastructure in there and get that TIF making us some revenue. The next part is there's a few questions that Mark likes to make sure we answer so that this thing knows that it's going to take off. So a few of those things. Oh, next slide. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little ahead. A few of those is, okay, in 5 years, will the revenues that the TIF create be greater than the revenue that the college district forgoes? And the answer is yes. We estimate that the TIF revenues created in years 1 through 10 will be about $3 million versus the $215,000 that the college district will invest into our TIF. So that criteria passes. The next one is, does the TIF revenue created, the net present value of the TIF, is it greater in years 1 through 10 of revenue created than revenue foregone? And again, you can see that the revenue created in years 1 through 10 is $1.58 million versus the $111,000 that the district forgoes. So yes, you'll see your return on investment. So that passes as well. And then the last slide. And then the last slide is a couple more criterias. The unadjusted revenues over that same time period again exceeds the amount of expenditures put in. So at that is the total presentation, and at this time I'll be happy to field any questions.
Trustees, any questions? Comments? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Vandergriff, second. Dr. Morrison, comments, questions? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed?
The City of Crowley thanks you.
Item number 10 and 11, Ms. Petty. Number 10, consideration and approval of change order to contract with Joeris, General Contractors, Construction Manager at Risk for construction of South Campus Early College High School. And I understand we have a visual.
We do, hot off the press.
A picture for Mrs.
Kirby
Hadley.
got us this just in the last few days, so we thought we'd show this, if we can switch over. There it is, beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
Very nice.
Kirby, 8 months from now, we get the contract tonight signed and approved. We hope to be looking at something like that and be open for classes August of 2015. So,
I have a question. I don't know how many of you have ever had to go to school on a rainy day, but has anybody ever thought about having a little bit of coverage where when students either get off the bus or get dropped off, that they could do that without getting wet and soggy? Just a question.
that might be the reason for the covered walkway there, but beyond that, I would defer that to our architect if he has any input on that. But I think that's a little different than the design at the Southeast campus, but there's some similarities there. and it doesn't rain enough.
We wish it would.
Yes, what you're seeing there with the canopy, that's a circle drive entrance off the main parking lot that's already there on the northeast corner of the campus. And basically where the building is sitting is the northern bank of the tennis courts that will be going away. So you'll come from the main parking lot, the buses or cars will turn in this circular drive with that drop-off canopy that will go. The glass tower element is the main entry. And just as an aside, that glass tower will be lit at night, so it'll be kind of a focal feature point that you can see to the building.
But her main question, Kirby, where that car is parked, the second car in the back,
Yes, ma'am.
a bus can pull there, and
Yes, ma'am.
the students get off and
Yes,
walk
ma'am.
under the canopy
Yes, ma'am.
immediately?
We have enough room for 3 buses to stack end to end right there at that center point of that circle.
So they don't get wet from walking off the bus up under to the canopy?
A little bit. I mean, the canopy's at the edge of the drive, so I mean, it's a step or two.
Let me just tell you, that's as much for the teachers as it is for
Correct.
the students.
Correct.
I mean, I just ask you to have them take another look at that. I
Okay.
mean, after all, it's new, we're building it,
Sure.
so we could make an adjustment.
Okay.
And just see how it works.
Sure.
Maybe it's not worth it, maybe it doesn't work, but if we build one and we can test it,
There you
then
go.
the next time we'll know.
Well, one of the early design things we explored is what you see now is a column-supported canopy, columns on both sides. We did explore a cantilevered that would just be the columns on the building side. It would be a free span over that drive. That is quite a bit more expensive. We can certainly take another look at that as we move forward. The basic building configuration is the same as the Southeast, the L-shaped building configuration. There's some internal differences, and then the exterior skin is different to try to fit within the context of the South Campus.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kirby. Appreciate it.
Question?
So we ask you to approve this contract with Joeris General Contractors. If you recall, you did approve the procurement method earlier, and we signed a contract with them at no cost, and then this is a change order to do our guaranteed maximum price contract of $8,849,487. We'd ask you to approve that for our building.
Motion to approve. Mr.
Second.
Carter, seconded by Mr. Greenhill. Question, Mr. Heed.
Is there any possibility of getting any funding from Fort Worth ISD? You had looked into that, I think.
I don't know, Mr. Heed, if that possibility still exists. The former superintendent had indeed told us that they did have some money they could help support this building with. I have spoken with the interim superintendent, and she doesn't believe that it can be done. But there's still some more work to be done.
Other questions or concerns? All those in favor of approving the change order to contract with the Joeris General Contractors in an amount not to exceed $8,849,487, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Petty, item number 11, consideration and approval of BuyBoard Cooperative Agreement with Enviromatic Systems to provide equipment and installation to upgrade Alliance Transportation and Logistics Building to Reliable Controls Building Automation System in the amount of $453,374.
We're asking your approval for this. This is, we're reaching into our bucket of paint in our new building at Alliance. And this is really to help improve the indoor air quality, reduce energy consumption costs, and decrease maintenance and repair for these systems. So we're asking your approval of this important system and controls that is standard for our district now at this time.
Motion to approve. So moved. Mrs. Vandergrift, a second.
It would have been better if you'd have said a trainload of paint. It would have been fine.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Mr. Greenhill. Again, for anyone who's new in the audience, we have substantial data in our packets, which we have received prior to this meeting, so we're not just going off a checklist here. Hopefully, the board members have studied the information provided to us by staff. Is there any discussion on this item? Questions? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Great, and I just wanted to say, Happy Bosses Day.
Thank you. Thank you. Which gives me an opportunity to say, I hope everybody is enjoying my beautiful flowers from my staff. Aren't they great?
Very nice.
So I thought I'd bring them to share with everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Marshall, item number 12, consideration and approval of renewal of McAfee Protection Software Future, $176,517.99. Is this a sale item? We've heard.
This is a really good deal when you have a virus. So, unfortunately, it's just for computer viruses. This is the enterprise-wide solution for all of our devices. So that's laptops, desktop servers, and this year we expanded it with no additional cost to devices that students bring to campus and that faculty bring to campus that are their own devices. So there's actually scanning going on of devices that are in your pocket to make sure that when you send information to the district, you don't infect our servers and our email. Every once in a while, something still gets through. This price also includes 24/7 support from the company when new viruses are discovered. We engage them on a regular basis.
Motion to approve. Mr. Heed, seconded by Dr. Morrison. Any questions? Comments? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Item number 13, consideration and approval of purchase of Cisco SMARTnet service contract from Flair Data Systems in the amount of $191,125.82.
The Cisco SmartNet is an insurance policy for all of our Cisco equipment. If you're not familiar with Cisco, they are what networks are. The network electronics, if you remember in the 50s and 60s, if they said buy IBM because it's the only one out there making computers, Cisco networks are pretty much the market standard for network electronics, and we have a heavy investment in them that runs all the networks at the district, all the telephone systems at the district, and all the video systems at the district. So this is our maintenance contract. We have access to engineers. We have access to specific software tools that we're constantly using to test and diagnose issues with the network. And this is part of a 3-year agreement. This is the second year of the 3-year agreement.
Motion to approve. Mr. Heed, seconded. Mr. Carter. Questions, comments? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed? And finally, Mr. Marshall, you win the prize tonight for spending the most money. Consideration and approval of Dell personal computer desktops, laptops, and monitors in the amount not to exceed $2 million.
Well, we haven't spent it yet, so this is a not to exceed, particularly with personal computers over the last 2 years. We have been spending more and more on what we call virtual desktop. So those are the types of equipment that you have in front of you, which are not really computers, that are just terminals into the server. We use this same money to spread out the purchasing between Dell and those virtual devices. The Chancellor asked me the other day, how many computers do we have? I gave her an estimate, and I was close, but I wasn't on the number. The number is 12,100 computers, and that is desktops and laptops. We probably have another 1,500 of the devices that you see in front of you, the virtual terminals, and then probably another 500 or so tablets that are iPads, and maybe another 500 to 600 printers that are all connected to the network. So this $2 million, though, is just for the amount of money that we spend on the computers. And again, this is year 2 of a 3-year agreement, and it's a not to exceed. Last year, I don't think we hit that number, so I think we were probably returned 5 to 6 figures back to the district.
Very good. Tim, you might want to mention the other conversation we had, too, about the price differences now that will allow you to have a faculty member choose between a laptop and a desktop.
Yes, we haven't advertised that. Last year was the first year where it was about a $40 to $50 difference between the desktops and the laptops that were in our configuration. So when any administrator or faculty member is due for a replacement, we offer them, do you want to have a desktop or a laptop? And pretty much about 80% of when that offer is made, they go to the laptop. They keep their monitors, they keep their keyboards, and now they have a device they can carry anywhere. So it makes it easier for us. It makes it easier for the people to work, to take their work with them. And from a support perspective, when we have to trade something out, it's a lot easier to give somebody a laptop than to go to their office and have to provision and take out cables and crawl under their desk.
So JCC members, are you listening? Yes, you help us spread the word. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Motion to approve. Item number 14, Mr. Greenhill, seconded by Mrs. Vandergrift. Any questions or discussion?
I have some questions.
Yes, sir.
How many machines will this $2 million cover?
Because we have 3 different tiers of equipment that we buy. You know, the basic machine that probably finds its way to about 75%. And then we have what we call a small form factor. It does the same thing, but it's a very small box. So you can fit more of them into a lab. And then there's what we call a workstation model for the people that do graphics and CAD. It'll buy about, if we go, about 1,700 machines. We have that many due for replacement this year. And by mixing the tiers, some of them cost more than $1,000, and some of them are as low as $676. And this also covers replacement monitors for some equipment that we anticipate the monitors failing over the course of a year. If they don't fail, we just turn the money back in.
What is the average age of the computers you're replacing?
5 years. We have a 5-year recycle plan. There are 2 or 3 departments where we'll do a 3-year plan based on the software that they run. Most of that's in the academic side, where they're teaching computer science and they're using the equipment harder, and they're doing a lot more things with them than a typical office would do. So we replace them on a 3-year cycle. And then some of the equipment that's used by Nina's staff in the physical plant, that they're running high-end CAD or building automation systems. You want to make sure you have the best piece of equipment there when you're when you're working it. But the majority of our equipment is traded out at 5 years.
Okay, so these are absolutely necessary.
If you were the person sitting on the other side of that question, that yes, and sometimes 5 years isn't long enough, isn't fast enough, the industry standard in most colleges and universities sits between 4 and 5 years. So we want to stay in that range. What happens is if you don't, the student experience becomes diluted over time where they can't run software that is either being delivered with the textbooks or the software that the faculty want to run. And it's just, it's a commodity item that you don't want to remove from your instructional environment.
Okay, so maybe I misread it, but this got a dream score of 1?
Because of the,
I don't understand. If it's so necessary, it seemed like that would be a lot higher.
Not everything is strategic. There are many things that are tactical. A dream score of 1 means it doesn't target any one population. It targets all the populations. And because of that, the diversity and the relevance items within the dream score are targeted for specific populations. So the dream score of 1, I'm not going to try to fake it. It's a commodity item, and it's like a pencil to people in instruction. You can't do without that pencil or pen, but the item itself doesn't have a high dream score.
Okay. Strange.
It is. Now, if you take other technology, that might have a higher dream score based on how it's being applied in the classroom or to a particular target population. But when you're buying them for everybody, including administrative staff, that brings the dream score down.
Other questions, comments? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed? And I'm sorry, I'm taking your prize back. Actually, Miss Petty beat you with her $8 million building. So how soon we forget?
That's okay. You can just give me the $8 million and give her the 2. So.
Thank you all. Mr. McClendon, we're ready for our monthly financial report.
May I make a short comment?
Sure.
Madam Chairman, we were talking about dream scores just a second ago, being a low or high, and just for the avoidance of doubt, the chairman did say that we have a great deal of data before us in approving these things, and that data includes a marvelous analysis by Nina Petty's and Tim's staffs about what is being proposed and dream scores, what happens if we do it, what happens if we don't do it. Now, again, I want to say I appreciate this effort on your part because it's not just busy work. It's very, very important for us in analyzing whether to approve or not approve these items. Thanks.
Great. I'm so pleased that the Board of Trustees has followed and continues to follow the Innovation Forum, because I promise you, long term, you will really see the value. I hope you're beginning to see the value of it now. Tim made a good point, though, and it's something we've talked about a lot at the CELT level about what happens when an item comes in, say with a 1 or whatever. Some things are just absolutes, like you talk to an employee about work ethics. People expect you to come to work. That's an expectation. So if we're going to be a robust community college, our students are going to expect us to provide what they need. The most important point I think that Tim made in his response to you, Mr. He, was that we're buying all these computers for everybody. And so it isn't just a student score that will come out of the Innovation Forum. We've talked some about just making some things automatic, and then we decided we didn't want to do that. We want to put everything through the Innovation Forum so that it gives us a really good look at the overall workings of the college. So that's the reason why the score is not any higher than it is. Mark?
Thank you. As I was looking at the financials, I thought I would bring you all some good news, or what I considered some good news, before I give you all the quantitative details. The first thing is that in the month of February this year, we will pay off all our debt. And I thought that was a a really good thing.
Paper burning ceremony.
So I thought that I would continue on that vein and see if I could find another piece of information, and the finance staff helped me. In next year, in September, we will be able to pay our last $5 million note on, this is a great, on the OWTL building. So there will be absolutely nothing that TCC owes. I think that is a really good credit to the board and to everybody at this school, and especially for the taxpayers and everything. And now we should go to the details. Okay. All right. Okay. As I've highlighted there, you will notice that the reason what we do is we look at every month, and we look at a percentage. The first month you will look at 12%. However, not everything is exactly cyclical. But I thought we would start the year and give you as much detail, and if you want more, we'd be happy to provide you with that. You'll notice that your credit tuition comes in is sitting on 44%. The reason for that's all the revenue that you have in the fall semester. That's why that 44% is so high. Now, again, if you remember last year, as you looked at our investment, it was actually very high percentages. This year, as we start off, as we look at our mark-to-market, it has a negative. But that's something, that's an entry that we will do throughout the year. It just happens to be negative at this time. So I always highlight that because that number always catches everybody's eye, but it should not surprise anybody. Our revenue right now on 10%, I think that's fine. We will catch up and surpass that very rapidly. Okay, and so now we should go to our expenses. Okay, so we're going to look at things that are a lot higher than 12%, and we'll start the whole year going through every item. So this being September, the first month, and I think we'll have a lot of good items to talk about, I think. And so if we look at information and technology, basically those are where we reverse a lot of software and licenses. We bring them back, we reverse our expenses in August, and they show up in September, and that's why you're able to show such a high expenditure, and that's just a reversal on them. If we look at the tax administration cost, that's just it's an encumbrance that covers more than one period. If we look at mail and telephone, we have contracts there that we have BPOs that are more than one period, so you're showing an encumbrance. That's why that number is sitting right now at 85%. If we look at our facilities leases, that's the same thing. We are showing an encumbrance for a larger period, and that's modified accrual accounting, and that's why that shows. And if we show it the district support, that again is its encumbrance is reversals that are showing that 51%. All right, next page. If we looked at this one was a voucher that we were saying, well, you know, why we have negative there? And basically we reversed a voucher there, and that's why you're showing a negative cost in there. And so on the next month when we do the rechange of that voucher, then you'll show the positive cost there. I didn't want anybody to think that we had a revenue on that expense there. On technical processing, again, that is an encumbrance. If we look at the plant operation side, there's a lot of BPOs, all encumbrances. If we look at the total expenses there, it should be at 12%. We're at 11.1. I'm good with that. I think that's okay. All right. So I hope that y'all feel the same way. Okay.
So you're proud, Mark. We get it.
Yes, ma'am.
We're proud for you.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Okay, so now we're going to look at our cash flow. If you look at our cash flow, we're actually at this period of time, since we haven't had all the money from the states, we're still consuming. So we've gone from $83 million to $59 million. So we consumed about $25 million in our investment pool. We expect that. We have a healthy cash fund, and we're using that. When we look at our security, U.S. security agencies, we bought $10 million, we sold $10 million, so it's pretty much a wash there, and we look at it. If we look at our spread there on our 13 weeks, it's 0.61. There you go, okay? And if we look at our spread on 26 weeks, it's 0.58, and that's just a reflection of the market. Any questions? Thank you very much.
I would hope that the retiring of our debt might be included in our 50th anniversary celebration.
Dr. Morrison, you hear that?
I heard that.
On the list.
We did hear that.
Yes.
Not only will it be included in the celebration, it's going to be included in the book.
All right. You don't miss a thing, do you, Dr. Bill?
No, it does not.
We'll burn the bonds.
We'll burn the
Yeah,
bonds.
absolutely. Very proud of that achievement.
As you should be.
Chancellor's report. That would be you.
Thank you, Ms. Appleman. The first item on our agenda this evening, we have one new staff member. Ms. Angela Robinson will present that employee.
Thank you, Chancellor. Keith Whetstone comes to Tarrant County College with several years of legal compliance experience gained from working for the United States Department of Labor, the United States Census Bureau, and the United States Small Business Administration, as well as private sector employers. Keith's college studies started at South and Northeast campus of Tarrant County College, where he obtained an Associate's in Applied Science and Marketing. Afterwards, he attended Texas Wesleyan University and graduated with a Bachelor's of Applied Science in Legal Studies and Paralegal Certification. His graduate studies were on the campus of Texas Southern University, where he attended Thurgood Marshall Law School and obtained a JD degree in law. I introduce Keith Whetstone.
Thank you. I didn't know I was the only one tonight. But thank you very much. I really feel blessed and honored to stand before you, Madam President, board members, chancellors, vice chancellors, and my co-workers. I just really like to say thank you, and like to say thank you to Angela. She has provided me an opportunity, and I'm really appreciative of that. A lot of you may not know, and I know this won't leave the room, but Miss Robinson is really a pussycat. She really is. And that's just between us.
You don't know her well enough
You're
yet.
new, Mr. Whetstone.
But,
That's how she lures you in.
I would also like to just really say thank you to the board for the efforts. I'm very impressed with the TCC Connect, the virtual classroom. That seems to be going very well. And I would just like to encourage the board to even push further and deeper as far as it goes for students to obtain their education, their higher learning, through networking, even with community centers, even churches in the middle school level, because a lot of students, especially minority students, are not aware that these things are accessible and available to them. Lastly, I would just like to say to the Chancellor, thank you. And I really appreciate your efforts, because I can remember graduating high school and working, sometimes working 2 jobs, just trying to make ends meet. It finally came to me I needed to try to do better. And the place that I received that foundation to do better was Tarrant County College.
Yay!
The education that I received there allowed me to go on to Texas Wesleyan and do well, and also allowed me to attend graduate school. So tonight, I say to you, Chancellor, that stands before you is a product of your effort. And I thank God for you, and I thank God that He was allowed you to be a blessing to me to achieve my goal of higher education. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Keith. So we know where to go when we need a speaker, Angela.
He's our new poster child. That's great.
Madam President, the next thing I want to go through, you have in your notebooks an absolutely wonderful array of accolades from the various campuses. They are just so numerous until I can never highlight many of them, but tonight I want to focus primarily on the things the campus has sent about students, starting with the Northeast Campus. The Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation is a National Science Foundation program supported that aims to increase the number of underrepresented minorities in STEM fields. And Dr. Gobin is pleased to brag about 3 students who excelled. And I want you to listen to this quickly. Frank Cooley, a student on South and Northeast, who is currently now studying at University of Texas at Arlington, did his research in Frankfurt, Germany for the National Science Foundation program. Allison Ensign, who studied on Trinity River and Northeast, did the research at University of Texas at Dallas. And Kilma Sinabog studied only at Northeast Campus and is currently at Texas Woman's University. And those students receive not just scholarships, but great internship opportunities. So you notice that 2 of the 3 students studied on more than one campus. Every time I have an opportunity to talk about students who study on more than one campus, I am reminded, JCC members, of what I always say about one of the main reasons we need common textbooks is because students move around a lot. And we don't want them having to buy another book if they have to move from one campus to another. The next thing on Northeast is every year we get to say something really nice about the Collegian. And this time the Associated Collegiate Press has announced a finalist for its Pacemaker Award for the best college newspapers. Our newspaper is one of 8 two-year publications in the nation up for that distinction. It is known as the Pulitzer of the collegiate journalism world. So we want to really appreciate our students and our leader, Eddie Gallagher, for the great work that leadership that she gives. And even Dr. Lace, adjuncts in that program on the Northeast Campus, and he still counts his contributions as having gone toward this outstanding work that our students do. So we thank you, Bill. On our Northwest Campus, of course, Dr. LeBlanc is still popping her buttons because of our September 17th dedication of the Center of Excellence in Aviation, Transportation, and Logistics. And all of you were there, and you got to celebrate that wonderful, wonderful facility. And I know every time you go to one of these or the ribbon cutting of any kind, and you must reflect on all the discussion that you've had over time about the whens, the wheres, the hows, the whys, and then you get there and you see it all come together, and you have to be extremely proud. And again, this gives me an opportunity to thank our in-house people. We are some of the best employees that you can find any place.
I agree with that.
Absolutely, we do.
We're laughing. I'm sorry. We're being
being naughty.
The Texas Department of Transportation Commissioner is actually Mr. Victor Vandergriff.
What did it say?
It says Tom, who.
That's Dad, and he's gone.
And we remember him with great love, and Victor has big shoes to fill.
Yes, he does. So, Dr. LeBlanc, you'll have your staff change that name out for us. But I'm sure Tom is smiling at us.
For a second coming, I have a
Absolutely.
I have one more thing to say.
And he loved Tarrant County College. He absolutely did. Also on Northeast Campus, the 2013-14 Fine Arts Literary Journal, which is called the Marine Creek Reflection, is the first place winner in the Southwest Small College Division. The award will be presented in Austin at the regional conference on November the 8th. On our South Campus, the Family Empowerment Center, in collaboration with Proyecto, is that right, Dr. Jordan? Immigrante ICS hosted a mega citizenship workshop Saturday, September 13th, and they served over 150 families, along with 46 certified volunteers who helped those families complete their packets for citizenship. I always like to highlight things like this because, again, it gives us an opportunity to see just how we really are the community's college. We have opportunities to help people in so many different areas, and I think we do a really good job of that. We got another name wrong. It says L. Clifford Davis.
I know, but in the script, it says Mrs.
Nicole Minor.
His picture is David Patton, and that's the Honorable L. Clifford Davis, senior state
Which script are
retired.
you looking at? This is the one. This is number one. September 13th, Nicole Minor, Director of Campus and Community Outreach in the Family Empowerment Center, received the 2014 Community Service Award at the L. Clifford Davis Legal Association's annual Scholarship and Awards Banquet. Ms. Minor was recognized for her outstanding work to empower and educate the community. Immediate past president, Mr. David Patton, is pictured with Ms. Minor. I see. All you have to do is read, isn't it? You're absolutely right. Dr. Jordan, you all take that out and put Attorney L. Clifford Davis, the L. Clifford Davis.
Yeah, the Honorable.
The Honorable L. Clifford Davis. Thank you, Dr.
You're welcome.
Morrison, for catching that error on our part. We apologize for that. Don't let Mr. Davis see it. That's right.
Yes. And as a note of history, Judge Davis was on the initial ballot July 31st, 1965, as one of the candidates to be a member of the Board of Trustees, and he has always been very committed to our college and its success.
It'll be very interesting. Sometimes you want to hear the backstory on that. I don't know if Dr. Lace captured it in the book or not. He did. There are going to be a lot of really interesting things. You'll want to get a copy of that book when it's all done. Lots of backstories in there. A lot of people don't know anything about. Back to South Campus, Ernie Radman's architectural technology class was awarded the Juror's Choice of the 2014 construction competition on September 24th by the Fort Worth chapter of the Society of Design Administrators, which is an arm of the American Institute of Architects. Again, great work on the part of our students. On our Southeast Campus, Coppola's crew, consisting of faculty, staff, and students from Southeast Campus, joined him for the American Heart Association's 20th anniversary Heart Walk on September 13th in the Stockyards. You come in first, Dr. Coppola?
I did.
You did? Also in Southeast, Catherine Bottrell Tomerlin, Professor of Government and the World Languages Department Chair, and her Democracy Committee, that's a student committee, Democracy Commitment, hosted a voter registration drive with students in her classes on September 23rd and 24th to celebrate the National Voter Registration Day. And they registered 331 students during that time. That is amazing. On Trinity River campus, former student and current, former on Trinity, current on Northeast, Allison Ensign conducted the research. That was the same one I told you about before. So they're both claiming her. Okay, very good. And on September 2nd, Trinity River campus began offering classes. This is a very interesting tidbit, board members, at the Tarleton State University Hickman Building in Fort Worth. Students from Tarrant County's west side and other surrounding areas enrolled in 14 classes. 7-week classes will begin in October, and expanded offerings are planned for the spring of 2015. We just keep on reaching out and keep on. So that's very good. Under Dr. Joy Gates Black, she reports that a recent $400,000 grant is being used to prepare 180 returning veterans for high-demand, high-growth jobs in advanced manufacturing, skilled industries such as logistics, technicians, computer numeric control operator, and welding. The grant goes through the end of August 2015, and that will be run by Community Services, Corporate Services. Thank you. And also, under Enrollment Services, on the Northwest Campus, financial aid staff identified 4,000 students who have not applied for financial aid. And they're out there trying to ring them in, encouraging them to apply. Because one of the things we know is that they don't have enough money. That tends to be a big reason why they drop out. Kelly, if you'll go to the very last pretty picture on that, where you show the new Mogo truck, you can see our new design. That was finished recently, and it's a very good look at what success within reach should look like. We're so very pleased that they have agreed to tailor this Mogo Center just to Tarrant County College. So that's very good for us. I will also ask Mark to go to the podium now as a part of my report, and he can give you a brief report on our China mission. You'll recall that we left Nancy Chang, Mark McClendon, and I left the day after the last board meeting to go to China. We went to Shanghai and Beijing, and he's going to walk you through. If you need any interpretation, Nancy Chang is sitting back there waiting.
Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor. Next slide. Why China? And we always were so amazed. First of all, we were very lucky because when you go with the Chancellor, things happen. When I go by myself, it's just a different scenario. I'm just going to say that, and you'll see as I go through what do I mean about it. It's just a different environment. Things happen. Oh, a lot of things. Well, the first thing is we found out that, and we knew this, but we continue to be right. Texas really depends on China. At least $40 billion go to China, and they export nearly $10 billion. There's more millionaires coming up in China than anywhere else in the world. So looking at this market is the right thing to look at. The whole world is looking at it, and I think Shanghai is one of the greatest financial centers with just a small population of 18 million people, and Beijing is sitting on 14. In fact, cities of 1 or 2 million are considered small in China.
Considered rural.
Rural.
Yeah.
So what are the three things that we looked at in our trip? We looked at workforce training, we looked at connections with educational institutions, and we wanted to get the name out of who is Tarrant County College. This was a great opportunity because not only were we going with ourselves, but we were going with a partner, 2 mayors, City of Commerce. We were going also with travel, and we were going with a lot of people who were getting the name out, and we were the only educational institution there. I think this was a great opportunity for us. So what are some of the things that we saw in this trip? First of all was to promote to China the North Texas region to businesses, government, and stakeholders in Shanghai and Beijing. We also met independently with business leaders, local and civic leaders, and had some very large press conferences that were organized by DFW, and they did a remarkable job. We also had the opportunity of showing to China something that I think is very unique, of presenting the value of North Texas, rather than just presenting a city. This was something I thought, when they looked at us, they had never seen 2 mayors and an educational system together, and we were lucky to be there. So what are the things that specifically... Okay, what did we do for TCC? Because that's the bottom line, right? Okay, Shanghai Science and Technology University. We talked about possibility of summer courses to improve English for some of their students. Sometimes they want to come, a technical institute may want to reinforce it, and that was a different vision. Could you come here for 3 months and just take an existing and do it, and therefore lessen the cost? So that's an ongoing conversation, and that's something that we certainly want to explore. The other thing we explored is, how do you look at intensive English? The ability for a student, there's a lot of students in China who do want to come to China, and they're will be academically prepared, but they have some problems. As we went through, we actually heard that students memorize books in English. They can tell you the entire book in English, but if you were to ask them a question who was not in that textbook, they could not answer. So you have to have the phonetics, you have to be able to have the interchange, and you have to hear somebody different than your instructor. And so intensive English will be something that we're looking, it's going to be a gateway to the world, and we're trying to bring that together, and we talked a lot about that. We also thought about business. In the network and reception, we talked to Mary Kay. I did not know there was so many Chinese women who were interested in cosmetics. And that is a fantastic business, and they need a lot of factories and stuff like that. The numbers are remarkable. I was astounded at that. Maybe I just didn't know that much about cosmetics. But the numbers are enormous, and there's enormous business possibilities. Also, with the reception with American Airlines, they brought together a lot of industrials and commercial companies that we're trying to reach out and show them how we can help them in their training. All right, next slide.
While you're turning the page, Mark, you're talking about Chinese women. Mary Kay China entertained our full delegation on the first night we were there, and I was seated at the table with him. It's a him, and the mayors of Fort Worth and Dallas, and the airport board members, and the CEO, and the second in command, and Mary Kay China, who is a woman. They told us that they have 500,000 AK reps in Shanghai. 500,000. So Mayor Price asked, how many pink Cadillacs? Mr. Paul Mock is the guy. And Coco Zhang is the vice president for external affairs. So the mayor asked, how many pink Cadillacs do you give away a year? He said, none. Our ladies will not accept Cadillacs. They ask for Mercedes-Benz. So they give away pink Mercedes-Benz in China. That's how big their business is. And so I did also ask Mr. Mock, did he feel any way awkward being a man in charge? Well, I think the mayor had asked him first, how many men did he have among that 500,000? And he said none, zero. It just isn't something that the men want to do. And I said, well, then, so how do you feel being the CEO of this company with all women? And he says, well, sometimes it's a little bit awkward. And I says, well, I can have a point I can give you on how to feel more at ease. He said, what's that? I said, why don't you just wear pantyhose twice a week? I said, that'll help you get the feel of what it's like to be a woman. He laughed. We had a lot of fun. It was a great it was a great dinner. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you. I could not have said that better, Mayor. I'm sorry. Anyways, we did talk also to Shanghai Medical College, and we're looking about continuing education courses. I think that's something that more and more people are talking about, and we're trying to explore that. That's a really good opportunity. We continue to talk about the recruitment of high school students. There is one city that they told us, and they have 1 million high school students, and we were just floored. So we're trying to see, how do you seek the right balance of talent and economics, because the Chancellor was very well to point out at all times that there has to be the value proposition. It's in it, and it is. The next thing that I thought was something that I could not achieve in one single day, we were able to meet the ambassador. So the ambassador gave us, and the Chancellor was sitting there, and he was looking at her, and he said, you're probably one of the best reasons to be here, because the United States is considering imports to the United States as education, and that's something we really want to do, and I'm so happy you're here. And so I thought, I'm so happy she's there too, because that was a good segue to be able to give us, one, the importance that it is for China, the building of bridges, but more important, they were able to give us, when we went down and we met with their commercial delegation, they actually helped us out and considered commercials do and don'ts, online and face student recruitment, vetting of recruiters, and they're actually we're in contact, both will be in contact in Shanghai and Beijing, because China is so large, and there's so many students that while you would think that one area would support it, they have different perspectives, and they will help you. And we are right now contacting them, working with them till we have something that will take us to the next step. I could have not have been able to achieve this in one visit, and we were able to achieve this in 2 or 3 days and talk to that many different counselor people and have contacts and work with them. And there's multiple opportunities. I think the other thing that we were very happy to go to was Cengage China. Cengage is one of our publishers, and they told us, and I'm continuously trying to see how can we partner with our business partners. They produce 60% of the books in China, tremendous things, and we're looking at maybe possibly how can we teach and other different partnerships in China. So overall, I would say that from our perspective, we were able to glean a lot of information. We're going to go back and refine our plan. I think we're going to put realism and try to bring it together. And we're very lucky to have Mrs. Chang, who, since she is from Shanghai, she let us know at all times that she is a Shanghai citizen and how proud she is. And I don't know, any other comments you may have, Chancellor?
She didn't tell me that.
Oh,
she told me she was a U.S. citizen.
Well,
she was born in Shanghai, a native of Shanghai, but she absolutely claims her U.S. citizenship. And it was also always so interesting as we would go about, and they would assume that we couldn't speak the Chinese language, we couldn't speak Mandarin, and then Nancy would open her mouth and start talking, and they would look, and they were like, they knew she didn't live in Shanghai right now. They could pick up the differences that she has accumulated. The Texas
Mandarin Tech with the Texas drawl. And she talks Texas with the Mandarin drawl.
That's just one of the things I do want to add, Mark. You hit up on it a little bit, but the help that we got from the consulate's office and from the ambassador's office is priceless, because they agreed to help us every step of the way. They agreed to vet companies for us. They agreed to vet areas for us, because one of the things they said, you want to be careful about going out into the rural areas with that 1 or 2 million people. I can't get my arms wrapped around rural and think 1 million people. But they said the educational standards are different as you get around China. And the biggest issue, he said, not that the students can't learn, they do, but they know no English. And that we would really not want to bring anybody to the U.S. to go to school with us who knows no English. So they need to know some. And as Mark talked about, the immersion program, the intensive English program that we're looking at doing in connection with Texas Wesleyan, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Partnering with them. But those are the two most important things, both from the embassy as well as from the consulate's office in Shanghai, and of course the embassy in Beijing. And we all managed to get in the embassy without getting shot. I mean, there were people standing around with the guns, and we were told, do this, do this, do this, do that. It's very high security, as you might guess, facility. So all in all, it was really, really good. I told my students who are in the Chancellor's Emerging Leaders Program, I said, I wish every one of you could have been with me in China. I wish you could have seen the conditions of a lot of the students. We visited Shanghai Medical College, and it's just amazing at how they live. Now, they were like 45 minutes from our hotel. We're in the heart of Shanghai. They're like 45 minutes, and you get out there, it's like you're in a whole nother world. Mud puddles, just, third world looking. You get back into Shanghai, and it's proper, and it's very, very different. But it was a wonderful opportunity for us. And once you visited and stayed for a minute, some of those places, you're never the same when you come back home. You have a completely different appreciation for what this country affords all of us. So I hope my students were listening. I was challenging them the other night to pass all their courses and appreciate what we have. So it was a great trip for the three of us, and we will keep you posted on how things go. And also this week, was it this week or last week? The Vietnam people came back. They were here a few months ago, And we've signed a memorandum of understanding with them to move forward in providing help for them with their students in Vietnam, either by, it isn't specific, so it may be online, or it may be that they send cohorts of students here. That's the first thing they talked about, was sending students to us in cohorts. And we've also been approached by the Japanese about reigniting some of the programs that we had here years ago at Tarrant County College. It's been years ago, when I served on the airport board, and we went to Nagaoka, Japan, to sign the Sister Cities Agreement. Some people in the audience saw my card and said, oh my goodness, everybody ran and they got this president of the college there and said, look, she's a vice chancellor. They didn't know what it was, but they figured it was something. And so they asked if I could help them get an exchange program going. And we did. We got it going, and it went really, really well. Later, the chancellor saw fit to change the whole structure of the program. And whoever took it over didn't particularly care about it, so it just kind of went down the tube. So they're asking to bring that back. So we're very popular. The other thing I'll tell you, I was so appreciative of Mayor Price. Of course, both mayors spoke at pretty much everything. And Betsy Price never spoke to a group without acknowledging Tarrant County College and why we were there and the work that we do. And of course, we took some of our own propaganda and we were able to pass that out as well. There's one, that picture in the lower left, that's a TCC shirt that this woman is proudly displaying. So it was a great trip.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Did you just have an opportunity to discuss pilot training in aviation, avionics, and so forth? I understand there's a tremendous need in China for that, and we have great facilities.
No, sir. We did not discuss that at all. And I've told Mark, we've talked about it. And I'm a little bit reluctant to put that at the top of the list, because when you start talking about bringing in foreign students to get trained as pilots, you have to do a deep dive and get into it, because, unless you're going to say we can bring in students from this country but not this country or not this country, from my perspective, it's not anything that I'm interested in pursuing at the moment. Maybe as time goes on, there may be that interest. But, we've heard stories about how those things can go wrong. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So students come here under the guise of doing whatever, and they're actually terrorists. And they're learning how to fly and do all that stuff. And so I just don't think it's something TCC would want to embark upon at the moment. If y'all think differently, let me know, and I'll rethink my thoughts. I'll take myself back to the revolving place. It's a revolving thought. Okay, that's Ms. Appleman. That's all I have.
Thank the three of you for representing us so well. Brief President's report. I hope all of you board members, and I'm sure the invitation is extendable to anyone who's interested. Retiring Texas State Representative Diane Patrick is hosting her annual Educational Policy Summit, Showcase Arlington at UTA on this coming Monday from 4 to 8, and Dr. Cola is going to be on the panel along with Mayor Cluck and Arlington Chamber CEO Wes Jury and UTA President Carbari, thank you, and Dr. Marcela Cavazos and their board president, Bowie Hogue. And Dr. Coppola, while I have you on my mind, tell the audience about your special program coming up next week on your campus, please.
By the way, Dr. Coppola tried to give me his spot on the panel. And I said, Bill, they asked for the person they wanted. So that's your spot.
You bring things.
That's your spot.
We're real proud at the Southeast Campus. You know, one of the things, the student engagement is our theater program. We have an outstanding theater program. And we've been selected for the Kennedy Center American College Theater Program. We'll have 4 universities and 3 community colleges performing over 4 days on the Southeast Campus next week.
Wow.
This is the festival is one of 2 state festivals in the state of Texas, and it offers great opportunities to the 7 schools that will be participating, including touring experience, critiques, workshops, shared performances, discussions, and networking. There are 600 academic institutions in the country that are part of this. And let me give you an idea of what their week is going to be like and who's there. At 7:30 on next Wednesday on the 22nd, we will do what our play is now called Around the World in 80 Days. Actually, it was 2 hours and 10 minutes, but we've had Around the World in 80 days. After that show at 10 o'clock at night, they strike the set and bring it out and put it in a truck in the parking lot. At 7 o'clock in the morning, Texas Southern University will come in, set up their set, get their lights set, and at noon, we'll do their production. They strike that, takes it out, and then San Angelo comes in to do their production. And that continues on for 3 days. Tarrant County Northwest will be part, as long as Richland College, we're the 3 community colleges, Sul Ross, and then Texas Wesleyan University will round it out on Saturday night with a celebration and a dance for all the students. All the students will be staying. They booked almost every hotel in Arlington. Wow. And so we're excited to host this. We've been part of this event for many years, and because of the it's actually the staff, Pert Duapo and Jerry Coates, that's put this together. I'm very proud of the work they're going to do. It's going to be an exciting and fruitful place next week on the Southeast Campus.
Thank you. I regret that many of us will be in Chicago for the National Conference of Trustees, but maybe we'll get back in time for the dance on Saturday night. I'm going to call for a closed session, but before I do, the board will go into their usual space. I'm going to ask the CELT to stay put, and Dr. McIntosh and the JCC. We will not keep you here after school for the whole hour, but I do, if you will remain in your places in this room for just hopefully a short time. And Dr. McIntosh and the JCC members, we'd like for you to join us. I will call for a closed meeting to deliberate real property, Section 551.072, Texas Government Code. Deliberation on personnel matters, Section 551.074, the Texas Government Code. Deliberation and discussion of the deployment or special occasions for implementation of security personnel or devices pursuant to Section 551.076 Texas Government Code. And finally, consultation with the attorney, Section 551.071 Texas Government Code. So we will not adjourn, but suspend the meeting. Is that my correct words, Dr. Lace? And we will return to you in just a few minutes. Thank you all for attending.
So Chris suggested I'm not taking this.